Hi, today I'm going to tell you about two past perfect tenses, so past perfect simple and past perfect continuous. Let's start with the first one. However, both of them will refer to more or less the same situation. But past perfect simple tells you about the activities that happened earlier than the main activities in the past. So you always have to remember that there is a point in the past that is the main point. And if you want to talk about something that happened earlier than this activity, this point in the past, this will be the activities that can be described in the past perfect simple tense. For example, I had watered my flowers before I went to school. In my sentence, I have two activities in one sentence, right? But it doesn't always happen this way because, for example, you can have a longer story in which you talk about the activities, the situations that happened, let's say, within this main point, but suddenly you want to refer to something that happened earlier. And this is a good situation to use the past perfect simple tense. As you can hear from my example, to make a sentence in this tense, you need two elements. First of all, this is the auxiliary, so the helping verb, which is had, and it's the same for all persons, and another element, which is the verb in third form or regular verb with ed or d ending. Another example. I had opened the windows before she came in. To make a question, again, this is a very easy thing in this tense because you use inversion. So, had I opened the window? And to make a negative, you just add the not to your auxiliary verb. So, you have the shorter form hadn't or the longer form had not. For example, I had not opened the window. As you can hear from my examples, this third form verb or regular verb with ed remains the same, nothing changes. I suppose that right now you think about like, okay, but do I always need to talk about these very old situations this way? Yes and no, because there are situations where you really need to indicate that something happened earlier because the person who is listening to you or maybe reading to your paper will not know about it. This is the situation when you talk about main activities in the past and suddenly you need to talk about something that happened earlier. However, you can always tell about things that happened earlier. And if the order of these activities is not exactly the way it happened in life, so situation number one was number one in your sentence, and situation number two was number two in your sentence, and so on and so on. So this is the moment where your past perfect simple is really needed. However, if you organize your sentence in this particular way, so for example, I opened the window, sat on the sofa, and took my phone, and this is the order of the activities that really happened, you don't need the past perfect simple tense because the order is clear and it's right. Another situation is when you use the word before and after because they somehow indicate the order of your activities. And in this situation, you can use the past perfect simple tense or you can use the past simple only because the words before and after tell you about the situations, which situations happened when. So, for example, your sentence can look like this. Before I entered the room, everyone had left it. Or, before I entered the room, everyone left it. Both of them are correct. Our second tense in this movie is the variant of the past perfect tense, and this is past perfect continuous. The difference between these two tenses is that the second one tells you about the activity, this first activity in the past, which happened earlier, of course, and this activity took a bit longer. So you just indicate the length of this activity, and that's it. So let me give you an example. For example, I had been watering the flowers before she came in. As you can hear from my example, when it comes to technical stuff, to making a sentence in this tense, you again have three elements. First of all, this is the had, which is your auxiliary verb, and it's the same for all forms, persons. Then you have been, and then the third element, which is the verb with ing. Had been doing. To make a sentence which is a question, you just need to use inversion. So, had I been watering the flowers? And to make a negative, you just add the not to your auxiliary verb. So, I hadn't been watering the flowers. Short answers are the same for both tenses. So, yes, I had, no, I hadn't. Yes, she had, no, she hadn't. Yes, we had, no, we hadn't.